listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LOZ Podcast Network. My name is Ken Lawler. I'm the developer of the LOZ app. And today we are excited because we are unveiling a whole new series of shows in the LOZ Podcast Network that's devoted to nothing but charities around the lake. These are called our Lake Charity Champions. And it was very apropos that the first one that we had on was our friends from Wonderland Camp. And I've got Mike Clayton from Wonderland Camp joining us today. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, Ken. I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I'm so excited about being on this podcast because of all the podcasts in the world, this is one of them.
There you go. Well, we appreciate you being on. And like I said, it's very, you guys were one of the first charities that we actually had in the LOZ app. And it's a personal thing for me because my son, Blake, attended Wonderland Camp for many years as a camper. And we were brought into the Wonderland Camp family and just saw all the amazing things you do for all the special needs. I say kids, but it's also adults. It's amazing the age range that you have. Tell us, it's become really a cornerstone of inclusivity for special needs campers for so many years. Share with us a little bit about your mission and what your goals are and really what you guys try to do at Wonderland Camp.
Sure. So at Wonderland Camp, we serve people with disabilities from 6 years on up. So our campers are from all ages, all parts of Missouri and the Midwest. And we are here for the encouragement, the high fives, the hugs. We are here for the friendships, and we make a lot of new friends every week at camp. And you're right, we are all inclusive. We serve all disabilities, and when we look at them as abilities, of course. And our campers enjoy, many times, a full week-long camp experience. Sometimes they come for a weekend at camp, but we try to be as flexible as possible and serve as many campers. This year, almost 1,700.
Wow.
At a time. Yes. Yeah. So
that's a lot of
year,
campers.
as many as 1,700. That's right. Yeah. So, and we're growing. So we even hope to serve more, Ken.
It's interesting because I've been there before when campers are checking in and
Right.
You see like their parents will bring them from another part of the state. They might be 4 or 5 hours away.
Uh-huh.
And this might be the only chance that they've had to get away from home for both the parents and the child or the camper. And what's interesting is you almost are creating memories for both because some of these parents, they don't get the opportunity to have a couple of days to actually do something on their own while you guys have the camper there at camp. So, I mean, it's such a unique situation where you always think of it in terms of, well, what's the camper getting out of that scenario? But the families are getting a lot too, aren't they?
Well, I think really half of our mission is respite for the caregiver. And you're right. They can have that whole week and know that their loved one is safe and sound and being protected and loved on and cared for and having the time of their lives. And they can do whatever. A lot of them choose to spend that time at Lake of the Ozarks. And we encourage them, okay, here, download the LOZ app, find some fun things to do at the lake, log on to funlake.com and enjoy the Lake of the Ozarks. So yeah, you're right. Respite is incredibly important. Well, you know that.
Yeah, and it means everything to the family. What inspired you to join Wonderland Camp? I mean, you're a what is it, 3-decade-long DJ at the Lake of the Ozarks. You live at the lake. Your family's from the lake. But what made you kind of roll everything up into Wonderland Camp?
I had interviewed staff from Wonderland Camp for years on my morning show. I used to work for a local radio station, did a morning show for 36 years. And so I know a little bit about the camp and its former camp directors. And then when I met Jill Wilkie, the current executive director, she was the board president at the time, she approached me and said, hey, we're looking for somebody to talk about the camp. We want to be more well-known. We want to have somebody to help us do fundraising for the camp. I kind of flippantly said, I can do that. And it wasn't weeks later that I started working part-time for the camp. And as of January this year, I retired from broadcasting and I now work full time for Wonderland Camp. So incredibly rewarding, and now I can't imagine doing anything else in my twilight years, so to speak. So
Well, you're still pretty young. We're going to keep hold of you
pretty
for a while. I know when I had my son there, when Blake was there, he got to do some really cool things. They got to go do archery and he got to climb a rock wall. And I mean, talk a little bit about some of the things
Mhm.
you offer the campers there as
Sure,
an experiences than just, hey, we're going to sit around the campfire or we're going to do some things.
sure, sure. And we have activities that are fully accessible and adaptable for our campers. So if you like to putt golf, or you like to get on our giant swing, we have a giant swing that pulls our campers up into the air and then shoots them out, so to speak, into the forest. We have a 40-foot rock climbing wall. We have a giant in-ground swimming pool with American Red Cross lifeguards, and we can put a wheelchair right into the swimming pool, and we have a Hoyer lift there too. We have a pirate ship that we borrow from Jolly Rogers once a week. So all of our
That's awesome.
get a pirate ship ride. We have pontoons, we have paddle boats, we have a carnival on Mondays, we have a foam machine and all sorts of outdoor carnival games. We do a talent show, we have sand volleyball. We have a pretty good sized playground with a zip line. We have outdoor musical instruments. We have a Burma bridge, a rec field, a basketball court. The list goes on and on. And all of those activities are adaptable for people with disabilities. And you mentioned Blake. Yeah, we have archery, we have BB guns. So the campers can do as much or as little as they want during their time at Wonderland Camp.
Well, and I know these things aren't just like don't just appear. Fundraising is huge. And I know that each time you guys put in the super swing or the rock wall, that's a lot of dollars because
Right.
and because you're doing it for access and ability, a lot of times, and I know this from our personal lives, I want to go buy a bike. Well, you can't just buy a regular bike. It's got to be an adaptable bike and it's got to have all the safety and all the, and it ends up costing 10x of what a normal bike would be. So talk about the fundraising and how critical that is to what you guys are trying to do there.
That's right. I know serving someone with a disability is not an expensive wheelchair van, for instance, our wheelchair vehicle that we transport our campers, or our automatic doors for people in wheelchairs. You just saw a montage of fundraising. The Shootout is one of our fundraising charity partners. We got a nice check from the Shootout this year from Hy-Vee. That's just some of the fundraising that we do to raise money for certifications that our counselors need to do ropes, to help somebody in the rock climbing wall, lifeguard certifications. Of course, we have an industrial kitchen and 300-person dining hall. So imagine the cost in that, our electric bill. You can't imagine what it takes to run a camp like that, our own water system and sewer system. But we get help from, places like Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill, Jolly Rogers Grub and Grog, who does an annual fundraiser for us in the spring, and many, many other charity partners that help.
And I was at the Jolly Rogers last year, and that thing you raised a lot of money there, didn't you? That was there was a band that comes in, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's a $30,000+ day for us. So
Wow.
it's one of our bigger fundraisers. We did a golf tournament in the fall with Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. That's a $50,000+ day for us. But those things don't just happen overnight. They take a lot of planning, a lot of people involved, a lot of support from the community. Fortunately, we have a lot of campers and their families that we've served over the years. So that helps us out with our donor base, so to speak. We've touched a lot of lives in the 54 years that we've been in operation as a nonprofit charity at the Lake of the Ozarks, and that has helped us out tremendously.
Well, and you mentioned community involvement, and I know that you have groups of community organizations that come and do cleanup, or they might come and help you build something. Talk a little bit about the community involvement, or one of the cool
Sure.
things that I saw you guys do, and it's just so neat, and to see the smiles on these campers' faces is when you do the big rig truck week, or where you
Sure.
bring all the big rigs in.
Yeah.
Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about some of those things.
Sure. Like that, for instance, is our heavy equipment week. And every week of camp, we have a theme week. So, we have sports weeks, we have like superhero weeks, we have heavy equipment weeks. Every week has a theme. So we can then reach out to the community and get some help. We have a talent show, on Wednesdays. We have a formal dance. We have a carnival. So every carnival night on Monday, we ask community groups to come in and work the carnival game. So that allows us to reach out to some great organizations. But, when it comes to helping maintain the camp, we have a very small maintenance staff that works year round. And then we ask people from the Rotary and local realtors and the JCs and the Kiwanis and some other service organizations to come in and help us blow leaves and power wash and paint and stain. I mean, we have 20 buildings at the camp, and
they
about
kind of
100.
make a fun. I know that I've talked to some of the groups, and they kind of make it a fun atmosphere. Like they'll stay there for a couple days. They'll sit around the campfire. Somebody might pop a beer here and there. Actually have some fun, but they get some work done too, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. I mean, it takes a lot to maintain the camp, and a lot of things have to be done. So we're really grateful to the support for the community. And we're getting, as the camp gets on in years, we're getting more and more organizations that want to give back. We just had a Boy Scout troop redesign our sand volleyball court.
Oh, sweet.
So that's nice. It's great. They have projects that they want to do at the camp. And, honestly, we couldn't do it without some of the great donations that we get. If we need a tree cut down, we've got a guy that comes out and can cut down trees for us. If we need gravel, we get gravel delivered. If we need concrete, we get concrete delivered to us. So we get help from the big box stores, Lowe's and Home Depot, generous donations from Target, Hy-Vee, and some other companies, local companies that help us defray our costs.
And I know that when it comes to, you said, there's always new things coming, new parts of the camp that you're trying to work on. You got a big one coming up, right? Talk about this new development that you have with the main house. So you call it something. What do you call it?
Miller Hall.
Miller Hall. Yeah.
So Miller Hall, and this is our renovation and our addition to Miller Hall that'll make it a 10,000 square foot facility. The existing Miller Hall hasn't been really touched since the early 80s. Miller Hall renovated is going to cost us $800,000 plus. So it's a lot of work. We're adding some new handicap accessible features to the hall, but this is the welcome center. This is the first thing that the campers and their families will see. So we want to make it welcoming. We want to open it up, make it brighter, make it very homey and friendly. And we've got a lot of nice camper touches to it, including our Airstream camper backdrop there to our kitchen that we're having designed. We've got a canoe that we have hung from the ceiling, brighter colors, sails, acoustical panels hung from the ceiling. We'll keep the picture of Charles Miller, the founder of the camp, over our big rock fireplace. He is the man that founded the camp in 1969. He's Jill Wilkie's grandfather. Jill is the current executive director of the camp. So we have a direct connection to the founder of the camp in the executive director, which is exciting, and not a lot of charities can say that. So it's a big project. We're fundraising for it right now. We're expected to be done at the end of April. There is still a way for you to donate. We're still waiting for that Ken Lawler IRA charitable distribution at the end of the year from all the money he makes off of the LOZ podcasts.
We're always willing to help. We always are willing to help.
And you do. What you give to the camp is priceless. So we really appreciate it.
Well, I know that it doesn't just run with you and Jill, that you need more people than that, and the counselors are a huge part of it. Talk about how does somebody become a camp counselor? How do they get a hold of you, and when does the hiring process start?
Yeah, really, it's going on right now. People can go to our website. They can go to our Facebook page. The Facebook page is really invaluable. We have a very active Facebook page. We're always pushing out information on how you can come to camp. You want to work at camp. It looks great on a resume. We take care of room and board. You get a weekly check. You get 2 days off a week. You will never have a better job than your job at Wonderland Camp. We hire people of virtually all age groups that come to camp. You can work with kids as young as 6, adults as old as 80. We have campers in their 80s that
That's
come to
amazing.
camp. So you will be fully trained in helping people with disabilities and making sure they have the time of their lives. And as you can see from the photos on our Facebook page and in the podcast here, our counselors get as much or more out of this than our campers do. They make memories that last a lifetime.
And, I'm sure there's other families like that, but we even had a couple of your camp counselors that were there with Blake that went on to, when they went to college, actually became in-home helpers for us. And so it's just an awesome collaboration between what you're doing with the community, the history, like you mentioned, I mean, since 1962, you said?
1969.
69, yeah. So, I mean, it's just, and then Jill, who is related to the original founder, and she's now running it. And just, there's so many amazing stories there. I hope that when somebody watches this, that they reach out in a couple ways. Maybe they know someone who might want to be a camp counselor. Maybe they want to volunteer for some time or effort to put in. Maybe they have the funds to actually donate and help make some dreams come true with all these new things you guys are doing. Really excited that you guys came on the podcast today and wanted to feature you guys since we started it. And I really appreciate all you guys are doing for the community. And hopefully, you can come back at a later date and kind of give us an update on when Miller Hall is actually finished.
Yeah, that would be great. And in the meantime, you can follow us on all social media platforms. We're at Official Wonderland Camp on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on TikTok, YouTube, or just go to wonderlandcamp.org. And we really, really appreciate all the support, Ken, from you and your staff and everything that you do for the community as a whole and all the other nonprofits. I know they appreciate you.
Well, we are excited to open up this new channel on the podcast network called Lake Charity Champions. I'm glad you were the first one out of the box because you're one of the most important ones that we deal with. And I really appreciate you guys coming on. We will try our best to promote everything going on at Wonderland Camp in the LOZ app.
Well, I can't wait to tell everybody I was your first. So thanks. I hope I was gentle.
Mike, I love you. Okay, everybody, thanks so much. Mike, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next episode of the LOZ Podcast Network.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it.